Hey everyone, Happy New Year and welcome to uh, 2020 vlog. Uh, this is brought to you by Financial Vlog, and you can see our contact details on your screen. Today's vlog is going to be about 2020 buys. Instead of making this vlog a specific vlog to a particular stock or segment, we are going to talk today more generally on which areas we should focus on buying or investing, and where do we see the larger returns may come. So for 2020, broadly, if we see what the developments we have seen in last years, there are certain segments at macro level we should think about, which might potentially go crazy high in next 5 to 10 years. And again, as we talk this, we are not talking of short term investing. We are talking of very long term investing, and by that I mean around 5 to 10 years horizon. This is the kind of investing which we are looking at would basically turn lesser amount into way higher exponential amount in terms of percentage and returns. Um, and usually these kind of buys or long-term investments are good for strong, robust, and long-term returns, and for us to become richer, which usually short-term investments are not as reliable, right? So if we talk of the sectors, one sector which we have seen initiated, but not yet totally on the top of the development curve, is the electronic cars, right? Electronic cars, and indirectly this sector is also going to impact the cab sector. So basically uh, hired transportation. So if we talk of electronic cars, the main companies which we know of are Tesla, right? Other one is a Chinese equivalent of Tesla as they advertise. I wouldn't put super faith on it. However, in late last year, we have seen the stock shoot up. However, fundamentally, I would, still incline towards Tesla as compared to Neo, looking at the Neo's history. And so that's the second stock. Other stock in this segment can be stocks like Aptiv, APTV or APTIV, one of that. I can check it out. So basically, what this stock does is it helps other companies which does need automatic car, or to help convert their cars into automatic cars or driverless cars. So this company also gives, I think, 1 or 2% of dividend. So this is something which is worth exploring. Um, if we look at these three above companies which you have listed, they indirectly are also going to impact the market of higher transportation, which is going to be Uber and Lyft primarily. Now, these higher transportations are basically, at this point in time, are fairly dependent on, for their profitability, the automated cars being introduced. If you have seen in late 2019, which is I think around in last 1 or 2 weeks of 2019, it was also announced that I think there were some laws being passed that the Uber and Lyft cannot contract to the drivers; they actually need to employ them. So if that gets materialized, companies like Uber and Lyft are going to be more and more inclined towards automated cars for their future recruitment in order to be profitable, right? I mean, what is basically good for the people might be a deterrent for a business like Uber and Lyft to be profitable. So, I mean, again, we are not discussing the moral ambiguity and issues here. We are just talking from profitability point of view. We can discuss and debate the other part of this on a separate channel or segment. So, yeah, so these are the at macro level we can think of these stocks going up. Other Another stock you guys might want to think of and consider is it's called Denso Corporation. The stock ticker is DNZOY. So basically, what this stock does is it's kind of into car parts, and if you see, I think it has been heard that they are also helping to develop driverless flights, etc. And that is something which Uber is also working on, right? So these are some things which may change the way we look at the world and the way we operate, and these are the kind of companies which which may make our investment grow multifold. Now, careful, though I've listed Neo here, from everything which I've listed, Neo is the one my family, my friends, and I would be personally most skeptical on. But I think other ones, if you slowly start investing, they should be okay. Tesla, I think, has jumped up a little bit high due to sentiment, but I mean, if you see, the sentiment might actually continue because Tesla, though it is primarily the electric car or vehicle stock, it might also be indirectly or sentimentally affected because of the SpaceX and other stuff growing in next decade or so, right? So that is something we probably want to keep in mind. Again, I mean, these are all stocks for fair consideration. If you see, Uber went to almost pretty low in end of 2019. It went to around 30s. So again, it may not be a bad time to start buying. Again, for in any of the stocks, I would not say go all in at one point in time. It's gonna increase, but if we look at the macro level, it might make sense for us to consider buying. Now, other critical industries or segments which we can expect to grow here can be basically cloud, and for that, primarily for the cloud storage or basically the cloud solutions, Microsoft, right, and Amazon are going to be competing very closely. The segment itself is expected to grow at pretty high pace in the next years. So those are fair and good stocks to consider. And other segment which you can think of growing is going to be artificial intelligence. So the stock like Google, and as you know that Google has two ticker symbols, so you can look it up and consider either of them. But I'll just say Google for here. So stocks like Google, stocks like companies which consult on artificial intelligence and stuff like that. One of them may be Accenture or basically profit from that, and other service providers which help with this kind of transition. Um, I know IBM has been trying to get into that space, but at this point in time, personally, the way we see is IBM is not super strongly positioned to really make profit out of it because they have some individual independent products with chatbots and stuff like that. But at this point in time, we do not I mean, we are a little skeptical on that. So again, I mean, it does give fair amount of dividend, but I would not list that stock right now. um, so yeah, so these are segments. Now, other thing which is going to be important is going to be data, right? So the two ways the stocks may increase their worth due to the uh, the data strategy, right? So one of them is the companies which basically have the data, right? This would be companies like Facebook. This would be companies like maybe Google, right? There may be other I mean, these are just two big examples, but there may be others in the space. Other thing which may happen here is there may be companies like, let us say, which will benefit from certain data. So for example, if you think of the companies which are using the data to become profitable, and this can be companies like, let us say, Anthem, right? So ANTM is the ticker symbol, which is basically an insurance company, and it doesn't have to be just Anthem. Any large scale insurance company, if they get the right data, they might be able to slice and dice insurance in a way better to be more profitable, right? So this is just an example, just a thought, right? So think in that direction, and uh, the companies which benefit from this kind of thing might grow multifold. Now, note that recently, towards the end of December, there have been laws out there which would say that data needs to be approved um, by people so that these companies can use it. So that is going to be a bottleneck or a hindrance as these companies grow. But I'm sure the companies may find legal ways to work around it, work with it, maybe incentivize users in order to share data and so on. So yeah, I think if you see in data, these would be the larger play. Other play can be in basically the 3G space. So basically 3G space, one is the companies which sell 3G, right? Which have which and other is going to be the companies which benefit from 3G. So again, both need to be considered. Companies which benefit from 3G would might be companies like some medical device companies which have robotic arms, and using the 3G technology they are able to operate from one company, one instead of one country, operate in other company, other country, one country to other country, or one location to other location. Those are going to sell more, and I would expect that also, because of that, it is going to be the healthcare industry which may make more profit. So we need to consider the indirect impacts of these changes as well. So I'm not going to list any particular stock here, but that is a food for thought, and you can think through it and try to research. Um, what else? Uh, One more thing which we can think of is going to be um, oh yeah. So because of more things moving greener, electric, and towards solar, um, the electricity companies may go up. So companies like Duke, right? So I'll put this along with the earlier ones, which is basically indirect benefit. So because of electronic cars, the indirect benefit here can be companies like Duke, companies like Southern. So of course people are going to use electric cars, but if they have to get the electricity for it, the indirect beneficiaries are going to be the electric companies. And I mean, these are just two examples. You can explore more companies. I think at this point in time, Duke and Southern Energies or companies like that, they give around 3 to 5% dividend. So they're not bad companies to start with or invest in. I guess that's about it. This was just some, food for thought, and some macro areas and companies to consider. I would leave you guys with the thought, before you move on. I would really request subscribing and liking this video. It really helps us in algorithm and to make more such videos. Um, And again, last but not the least, a disclaimer is that me, my family, and my friends make this video. We are not certified financial advisors. This is just basically for fun, entertainment, and sharing what we think. So please consult a financial advisor. Take your investment decisions wisely. Note that any investments can are subject to risk, and you may end up losing your money. So please be careful while investing. And also, me, my family, or my friends may have or intend to have stock in any of the companies which we have spoken about or we speak through. So yeah, please kindly note that. And I guess that's about it. Have a happy new year, happy investing, and wonderful year ahead. Bye bye.